Whereas the previous chapter, it had a lot going on, but I didn't have a lot to talk about in context to it because it was mostly like showing off a bunch of the characters, which I was happy about. Don't get me wrong, I was very happy to see all the characters work together. I was happy, especially to see Chikara actually be relevant, considering like he randomly like was brought into the whole main cast during his arc, and then didn't really like he didn't have like an immediate like really big plot point after that. But it seems like he got a point in this one, and I'm hoping that he will show up again later. Like he might just be one of those characters. He's like he's on the bench, but he's like second team on the bench. He'll be in and out as like the story goes. Nothing crazy, but regardless, I was happy to see that he did stuff. And then I like Tatiana was in there and stuff. Obviously getting to see Izumo and Andy work together, because I like Andy, but I do really like seeing their combinational attacks, the way that they utilize Undead Unluck. Like it was just a really good teamwork chapter. But this chapter, it goes back to my belief that Izumo was really underrated when it came to like female main characters, and I haven't like heavily gone on this. It was more of just like I think the chapter actually that really I kind of like started to be on that camp was when they were looking for information on Ano-un, and then like she just pulled her gun out and like no change in emotion, just pointed it right at the lady she was with while they were trying to get information. I just thought that was really cool. Obviously she wasn't going to just shoot some random person, but I really liked how nonchalant she was about it. It really gave her like a badass kind of sense to her while being in control of the situation. But we knew that she wasn't gonna, she wasn't just gonna shoot somebody in the face just cause. It was more of just like how well she handled the situations she was in that I thought was pretty cool. Like as soon as the chapter starts out, you have this big massive snowstorm, and it turns out that they didn't end up killing the Winter Uma, which is a little weird because I was thinking then they were gonna go to the Spring Uma, because that's the one that hasn't really been shown at all. I don't think they've mentioned anything about it being taken care of or being defeated. Bring it up in the comments if I just maybe have forgotten and missed something that goes to it, because obviously we had the Autumn first, randomly turned into a big spider lady that turned people into books, and then obviously this one we just had the Summer Uma. But they're saying how like the Book of Revelation was saying how killing Summer has thrown off the balance of the seasons, and now like Earth will freeze over if they don't defeat the Winter Uma. One thing I actually do like about the Umas in general, it's like they have some all of them have some like weird large scale existence level of just like thing that they do come in, because they're supposed to be like rules and stuff that God is applying. Like the units themselves don't seem like crazy powerful, but whatever the effects of their ruling are, which is pretty cool, because like the Winter Uma apparently is going to like freeze the whole planet, and I don't think that it's going to take a character that can like blow up a planet to defeat it, but I think it just has like this natural extra effect onto it. I'm thinking it less like a power level type thing, and more of like if you were playing a tabletop game or something, or some form of video game where it's just like, oh, you have to beat this guy, but while it's happening, he has this effect on like all characters in play or something. Oh, because from the standpoint of the series and where we're looking at in the like the context of the story and the Umas and stuff, it's really just God doing stuff. So like everything really is in alignment to whatever God's like decisions are, and I like that it makes it seem more like a game from God's perspective. I think that's pretty neat when it comes to the story and setup of the Undead Unluck story, because the Umas don't just seem like big. They're not like big, powerful, kind of just like evil bad guys that are slowly being let loose. It's more of like, it reminds me a lot of like think about like in Power Rangers. Obviously, it's not the same thing, but it's kind of like how, just like thinking of like original, but you can really, original in Power Rangers, not in Sentai before. I get that one guy who brings up how the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers was based off of like multiple Sentai series in. But kind of like how the bad guys will have these minions that they'll send down. It's kind of like that, where I think of it kind of like how Rita Repulsa had Finster make all of the monsters out of putty, and then they did their stuff to make them big, and then they'd send them to Earth to fight the Power Rangers. That's how God feels like to me when it comes to the Umas in Undead Unluck, where it's just like, alright, I got all these pieces, all these like Umas, how am I going to just throw them at the people I'm messing with to see them fight? I really do like that aspect of the series, and it's probably one of my favorite parts about it. The other one being that the fact that it always feels like it's borderline endgame, like we feel like we're at the second to last arc all the time. But now they're going up against the Winter Uma, sort of. There's a moment where, what's the guy's name? Talker, I think is his name. That like some dude who works for Billy. I think that's like one of his like main dudes. I'm trying to remember his name. I'm looking it up as the chapter as it's going. But he works for Billy. He's in the whole Under organization. He's actually kind of capable. Like he's able to do stuff with himself or by himself. Or Tella is his name. Yeah, I knew it was something really kind of like standard to whatever his power is going to be. I was thinking Talker or something, but apparently just Tella. And they don't really know what exactly his negator power is. He just shows up, throws down Shuiza's arm and sword to kind of like say like, hey, we're serious, we're gonna do business. And we have Shen, we got Top, we got Andy, like everyone just going. I'm trying to remember who it was like throwing a sword. Who in the group actually had a sword? Like not like Andy's sword, but like a just normal blade. Is that Mui? It might be. I'm thinking just because I'm looking at the sleeve of the character. Either way, like he's just blocking all of them with his weird power. He's got like these weird satellite things, almost kind of looking on like cords or wires, and they kind of go out and do like some weird sound attack to block them. I'm guessing his has to do with sound or volume or some weird kind of like power like that. But it's essentially set up to where they're like, all right, we want Izumo. We're gonna come with us, and we'll get rid of the Winter Uma. They'll pretty much will stop this like world freezing death calamity if she goes with him. And she brings up a really good point of when Billy was like copying everybody inside the Union's powers, like all of their negator abilities. He didn't copy Unluck. So she's saying how there must be something special about it. There's like a variable in there that he probably can't do. So she is valuable to them until either they can figure that out. So she just volunteers. She's like, to go with them. She'll go with them if it means they'll kill Uma and kill the Winter Uma and pretty much help a lot of lives. I really like that because, like I said, I enjoy the fact that her power is really OP, but she herself is not a fighter. She can do stuff on her own to a degree, but she's only been doing this for so long, whereas other people have been doing it for like years and years. She did have the whole part where she was inside Andy's memories, but it's not like she was fighting a bad guy every other week to kind of like move in that kind of like years of progression line where it's like in the Union group, like you're going to be fighting Umas and other people with negator powers probably on a fairly regular basis. Whereas from the flashbacks, I would be willing to guess that like they're mostly just fighting people with guns and stuff and whatnot when she was an Andy. But she's able to utilize her powers in a way that it's like even though she can't fight the same degree, she's able to still carry her own weight and to do her best in a way that is beneficial for the group. And then obviously with like how her and Andy combo attack together, it kind of adds on top of that. But similar to how it was when she pulled that gun on that person while they're looking for information, she just decides to take control of this, and she's like, hey, I will go with you guys. She's able to figure out like stuff about her power that it's like gives her a little assurance as to they're not just gonna kill her immediately. But she's like, I'll go with you if it means you guys taking out Winter Uma and saving a bunch of lives. And I did really like that part for her character, and it's why I think she's very underrated, because I don't really see many people talking about her. But like I said, she has a lot going on for her character already. She's had some she had a really good opening into the series. She had a really good part with Andy's backstory. Her stuff with Gina as well as Tatiana has been really nice. And then this chapter as well has done, I think, a really good reinforcement of like the solid characterization that she has. But anyway, other than that, comment below. Tell me your thoughts about this chapter, and tell me your thoughts about how things are going. I think it's going to be really weird in the next couple chapters. I'm curious to know what's going to happen with the whole Spring Uma. What's going to happen to him? Because he was probably the coolest looking overall. I did really like the Summer Uma when it was in that weird chestnut kind of form. When it was, or was that the Autumn Uma? I don't know. I'm pretty sure the yeah. Because I think the one we first saw, the Autumn Uma, it was it was much larger, whereas the Summer Uma, I think, was like that chestnut that had the eye stalk come in, because that looked really creepy. But the Spring Uma just looks the most interesting. It's like this big, like, cherry blossom ogre samurai kind of shogun dude. It looks badass. Anyway, other than that, no, comment below. Thumbs up the video, friend, like button, subscribe, and check out my other videos. But on that, I appreciate everybody starting to subscribe, and I thank you all for listening. Bye.